Hi, hello everybody, this is Agent Virus bringing you another video covering Destiny Rising. Now, we're about 1 week into the beta test, and I've been thoroughly enjoying playing all of the content. This has been a really enjoyable experience, and we just had our first day of Endgame, and I would have a lot more good things to say about it if it weren't for a couple surprises that reared their head around the time I started seeing the actual Endgame content. Now, first things first, I just want to say when it comes to the Journey bundles, they did indeed get so much worse in price and supposed value. This is what Netease calls value, by the way. Just pushing you to larger and larger purchases and even giving certain exclusive rewards like these exotic infusion cores. Now, seeing 20 right here probably doesn't seem like much, but it will be a lot more egregious when I explain later, and this especially will be egregious when I explain later. Another thing that wasn't shown initially was the Heroes Vault, another progression-based monetization scheme. I don't like this for the exact same reasons as the Journey bundles. It basically just shows people, oh, hey, yeah, you're progressing and we're giving you stuff, but we're not giving you everything. We cut some rewards out of the normal progression and we put them in here to nickel and dime you, squeeze you like the little pay pig you are. Now, that might sound a little bit harsh, but trust me, it is not harsh. And this isn't even the worst of the monetization. That's right, that $220 skin, that is not even the worst of it. All right? Now, to really give you a perspective of what I'll show you, I have to talk about the endgame. That's not the endgame. This is the endgame. Okay, we have two modes here, Calamity Ops and the Expanse, and we also have some other little things as well, like the Legendary Campaign. Now, the Expanse is basically this game's version of Tower of Adversity. It resets regular basis. You get the pull currency along with some other upgrade materials. It's pretty nice. I played through most of it. It's pretty fun. And you don't need to get to the full final maximum level in order to get the maximum rewards. Because, oh, hey, you know, like, you go from 200, you get 250 the next time. And you get some extra stuff. So, you get most of it just from being in stages 1 to 10. Or beating stages 1 to 10. So that's pretty fine. It's really standard. Not really much I can complain about here. What I can complain about, however, is Calamity Ops. Now, when I played this, I had a really good time playing it because it is a speedrun strike game mode. It's basically they take one of the strikes, they increase the difficulty, put champions, or in this game they call them Shinkas, and add some extra modifiers that make it more challenging. And you play through it, you get the same counter rewards as a strike. However, this is where the endgame rewards are kept. This is the same kind of deal as before with the 9 Expanse, except this is instead a leaderboard-based reward system. That means the better you perform, the more rewards you get, which would be fine in a game that didn't allow you to spend for power. And since this is a leaderboard-based reward system and not a clearing, like getting certain times or high scores, that means it is a zero-sum game. That means you get that leaderboard position, somebody else loses it. Somebody else gets that leaderboard position, you lose it. And it's really just a game of outspending your opponent. Because, guess what? You get 8% more power than your opponent does. Now you get that spot. And sure, there is still skill expression involved, but you cannot beat somebody else's wallet. And this will become a lot more apparent as I show what is going on in the Legendary Campaign. Now, the Legendary Campaign is the main source of exotic materials. That includes these exotic weapon infusion cores, the superposed photons, and the exotic catalyst contextual datasets. You need all of these in order to level up an exotic to its maximum. And you get 10 per clear and 30 per week. And you get these at a 2% chance. Now, it only takes 70 of these chips in order to get an exotic catalyst. So you're probably thinking that, oh yeah, it probably takes about like 2, maybe 3 at most weeks to get the materials that you need in order to max out an exotic. That would be incorrect. Because you actually need not like 50 or 60 of those materials. You need 390 of these exotic weapon infusion cores to obtain every single one of these upgrade nodes. And these are not insignificant upgrades. These are damage percents, these are blast radiuses, it's handling, it's reload speed, and it's also these catalysts, which can give massive 100% damage increases, and also more damage increases over here. And in the grand scheme of things, 20% isn't as much as 10%, but 20% is more than enough to make sure that you get a spot above your opponent and supplant them on the leaderboard, granting you those extra rewards and denying everyone else those same rewards. Now, you're probably thinking that, oh yeah, hey, these exotic weapon infusion cores, sure, you can get like 40 of them from the bundles, but that's like 1 extra week for that, and it's not that bad. It'll give them an extra boost, but in the grand scheme of things, most players will be on the same level playing field. That would be the case if it weren't for a little thing. Now, in the prior week, when I was going through the pack hunt stuff, I noticed these black market coins. And we weren't able to access the black market until level 70, and I just thought it would be another sort of deal like the SP coin shop, where you get a certain amount on a regular basis, more for participating in the pack stuff, and it would be kind of like a shop like this. You get weapon materials and stuff, and character materials, and it resets on a regular basis, and it's just more for endgame stuff. However, I was right about it being more for endgame stuff, because you are getting these exotic weapon infusion cores, you are getting exotic shards, which are used to craft exotic engrams, and you're also getting the superposed clusters. Those were available yesterday for similar prices, along with the exotic catalyst chips. However, there was a little extra detail. You see, most of these cost a really high amount. You would not be able to obtain the amount of black market coins from participating pack stuff to purchase even this 10. Not even nearly enough to max out an exotic for several weeks. Now, you do get more by being able to sell materials, but selling the materials is on a weekly lockout. And it's mostly just like the most exclusive materials for your endgame weapons and gearing. Now, I saw up here that there was a little plus on the black market coins. So I thought, oh hey, there's probably some extra way to get them. And it turns out there is another way to get black market coins. You can exchange them for silver. So that means it's like, oh, hey, I don't have enough exotic weapon infusion cores because the game arbitrarily locks me out of getting them and arbitrarily makes them cost insane amounts in order to max out my exotics. But I can swipe my little credit card right here and buy all the black market coins I need. And then I can refresh the shop again because I got these black market refreshes. And the more I spend, the more of these refreshes I get. And it's infinitely refreshing. Like, sure, you don't get the extra small itty-bitty amounts of rebate, but you get more refreshes for every single tier upgrade. So that means you can just keep swiping and keep re-rolling and keep spending. And oh, would you look at that? You're spending like $150 to max out your exotic because this is like $3 for 10. The superposed photons were also like $3, and you also have to spend like $6 in order to get this exotic weapon parameter. because it's $1 for 60 silver, which is 6,000 coins. And that just means that this game is extremely pay to win. There's no mincing words here, no denying it, because it's literally staring at us right now. This is pay to win. You literally pay money and you get the win. And there's no possible way for anybody to be able to keep up with this. Even if you weren't able to just completely refresh, this stuff refreshes every single day. Somebody who's going to the black market, completely cleaning out with their credit card every single day is going to just explode in progress at a rate that no other player would be able to compete against. And if there wasn't a endgame leaderboard which locked people out of rewards if they don't participate at the highest level, then that would be pretty fine. You know, like, sure, sure, it still is rather absurd at the amount of materials that you need in order to max out something, but it's not like you need to max out something in order to clear the end game. But every single percent counts when it comes to this leaderboard, because it is a zero-sum game. If you don't score high enough, somebody else pays more and scores higher than you, because sure, it's got power suppression active, but there's no fair play modifier here. There's no like, oh yeah, the characters don't have all of their extra copies active and your weapons are set to a certain level. They put that into the PvP, but this is not PvP in the sense that you're not actually shooting at another player, but it's still PvP because you're still competing against other players. Except that you're not actually competing against other players, you're competing against other players' wallets. Because guess what? If they're just the bigger pay pig, if they just max out their exotics for several $100s, if they max out their characters for several $100s, congratulations, you're now a top 100 player, and you can just ego over everybody else and get significantly more rewards for even the top 20% of players, and significantly more than pretty much everybody else. Because if you are in like the bottom 40%, then, or you know, the bottom 20%, like, you are getting 2 of these implacator clusters, and you need like 10 of these in order to max out a character. So if you get like 2 per week, or even if, hey, you're above average, even if you're in the top 20%, you get 3 per week and extra 2 from your pack shop per month. So it's going to take a month to get enough materials just to max out a character. And there's just no way around this, except if you shell out your credit card. And this upsets me immensely, because the rest of this game that I have played up to this point has been really, really fun. I've been seriously enjoying this. The strikes have been great. The exotics are creative and they are powerful. The raid activity was really fun to play through, even though it wasn't as difficult or mechanically challenging. The second encounter is definitely my favorite one. It actually did feel like a real raid encounter. And it's seriously disappointing, because the quality and the competitive, or what's the nature, the quality of the game and its end game and grind has been completely gutted in favor of pushing people into predatory monetization, making it extremely pay to win. And it's really, really disappointing and really, really sad, because I've been really enjoying this game. And I'm not going to have a game to enjoy anymore if this doesn't get changed, because it's going to ship. Everybody's going to look at it and be like, oh, it's just a pay-to-win game. I'll skip it. You know, I've played enough Destiny to see this, and I've played enough other like gacha or mobile games to see where this is going. And that's just going to be it. It's going to be years of dev time just down the drain, because it'll be like, oh, yeah, 3 months, end of service. We got all the money we need. You know, like, just, that's really all of my thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching the video. Leave a like, but only if you did. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments down below, and subscribe for more videos covering Destiny Rising and other games. Thank you, and I will see you next time.